Hello and welcome to the PAFR round 4 of the Division Sprint Series. Takes us to Paul Ricard in France. One-shot qualifying followed by a 25% distance race, which will be 13 laps. Can the championship leader Vengeance continue his dominance of the season so far? 2 wins in the first 2 rounds. Last week he could only manage P7 as far as I can remember. It was Midas Miller that won last week, which moved up to second in the championship. So Vengeance, looking at what he achieved last week, considering the pole position and fastest lap points, he did come home in P7. So I hope to continue that dominance so far this season. Midas Miller can mathematically lead the championship, so can Fletch, who's in third on 38 points. Here we are, just waiting for drivers to begin their one-shot laps, which will determine the grid for the race. If you have just joined us on the stream, we do welcome you. Do feel free to get involved in the conversation via the live chat. Make sure you leave a like and do subscribe to the Tom Cairns official YouTube channel. It's just gone past 11:30 AM in the UK. It'll be sometime in the evening over in Australia, which is where most of our competitors are situated at. Apparently it's 8:30, or just gone past 8:30. In some areas in Australia. 8:30 PM that is. It's not too long before Formula 1 action resumes next week at Spa, which will be the beginning of the triple header with that event, followed by Zandvoort and Monza. In regards to the calendar for the PAFR, to see what the calendar says. So now we've got France, we've had Bahrain, we've had Spain. And we've had Canada last time. So after the French round, we've got a week off. And then we return to the Red Bull Ring in Austria, followed by Silverstone and then Baku. So Vengeance on his fine lap. So we head to turn 9. Not bad through there. He runs wide there at turn 12. That's pretty much the only mistake he's made on this lap. Through the last corner of Pont, which is the 15th and last corner. And over the line, and this should be a 1:28.5. And he goes to pole position with that time, so that's an extra championship point going Vengeance's way. Fletch will line up alongside him on the front row, with Charlie and John next up. Midas Miller, the closest challenger in the championship to Vengeance, will start 7th on the grid. So here's your grid order with Vengeance and Fletch next to each other on the front row, with Charlie and John on the second row. It's Rishi and Adam on row 3, followed by Miller and AA on row 4. King and Anthro are on row 5, followed by ZHR and Suggested on row 6. Suggested and Smith. Smith is 13th, followed by Chromad, Vintage, Goen, and Sweaty Saga, who did not complete their lap times. They all start at the back of the field. So 13 laps lie ahead. The drivers will have to use both sets, well, two different dry compounds, unless it is a wet race, of course. And in fact, it is a wet race, so it's going to be quite something for the drivers going into this one. Just looking at last week, in terms of what happened in Canada, I mean, Canada was quite something in regards to what happened over there. Vengeance pretty much dominated the race, and then the timing of the safety car ruined his chances. With the penalties galore, Mello was able to come out on top and take the victory. We know what tyres all the drivers will be starting. It's just a matter of how much fuel they'll go into the race in. Or race with, I should say. Will we see another different winner? I suppose the good news for the drivers is that if they make a mistake, there's all that runoff area. So the chances of a safety car are slim. Well, I say slim, they're not slim, but they're less probable than other circuits like Barcelona or Montreal, Monaco, Baku. Of course, we're still waiting on those new DLC tracks that will be coming later this year. I'm hoping at the end of next month, if not the start of the month after that. Imola, Portimao and Jeddah should be some brilliant, brilliant tracks. You should be waiting for a countdown to the start of the formation lap. And we will be in a wet race. Drivers don't have to pit as the dry compound rule goes out of the window. And from what I'm seeing, I would say the drivers could well be starting on intermediates. We'll have a look at the grid when they do go off in their formation lap. And they are all on intermediate tyres. So Vengeance leads the field, around 17 drivers involved. There are a few not around today. Happy Kilmore not around. Raz is also not available. B likewise, and Luke Sheehan. Charlie's been called in. The Alpine in place of Happy Kilmore. And other than that, we've seemed to have got all our regulars involved. 17 drivers isn't a bad number for a sim league race, providing the competitiveness and driving standards are there. Now, I don't know about the weather forecast, so if someone can inform me on that in terms of what the weather forecast is expected to be for the whole race. We are expecting to get this done within half an hour. So Vengeance, he's desperate to just get to the grid now, isn't he? I won't want to be sitting on the grid for too long. Because the longer you sit on the grid, the more you lose temperature in intermediate tyres. To be honest with you, with it being wet conditions, it's not as much of a problem. The last thing you want to be doing is overcooking your tyres too soon. So Vengeance takes his spot on the grid. I think Fletcher's made a mistake on the formation lap, so but he'll be able to reclaim his second spot. Next behind will be Charlie, then it'll be John, then it's Rishi, Adam, Mella, AA, King and Anthro, your top 10. Just waiting for the last cars to make their way round. And Sweaty Saga will take up the 17th and last spot on the grid. So here we go then, round 4 of the division sprints in the PAFR. Who will come away with the latest victory here at Paul Ricard? The 5 red lights, come on! It's the lights out and away we go. Vengeance gets off the line fine, as does Fletch, who's alongside him to his left. And we've got Charlie as well, who looks to try and get in on the act in 3rd place. But he'll have to settle for 3rd as they go into turn 1. There's a bit of battle there between the 2 Alfa Romeos and the Aston Martin there. John going to the inside of Rishi if they go through turn 2. It's a relatively clean start for all the drivers. So Vengeance leads with Fletch 2nd ahead of Charlie, John, Rishi and Adam, with AA up to 7th ahead of Mella. Anthro's 9th and Vintage rounding out your top 10 so far. So surprisingly, no collisions so far from the pack. And Rishi getting ahead of John and for 4th place, and John also Adam following suit, as is AA. So John's lost 3 positions there in a space of 500 metres. Mella's in 8th. We've got Sweaty Saga going to the inside of the Mercedes HR and King. It's just seen that Suggested has been given a drive-through penalty for a jump start, and there's ZHR spinning round already, leaving himself with a lot of work to do. So Charlie's ahead of Fletch now. So Charlie gets in front of Fletch for 2nd place as Vengeance has already breached those. He's already 3 seconds in front. He's absolutely flying at the moment in these conditions. Charlie's got to 2nd. Rishi now fancying a go on Fletch. And someone's gone for a spin. Is that Sweaty Saga in the Ferrari? It is. I don't think he's made contact with the barrier, so he's able to continue from that. And Anthro going for a spin. That's a shame because he was running in the top 10 before that spin. So as the drivers complete lap 1, Vengeance leads by 3.4 seconds over Charlie in 2nd place. Then we've got Fletch and Rishi next up. Adam fancying a go on the Aston Martin. But Mistral Straight is probably his best opportunity to get the job done. So Suggested takes his drive-through penalty. He's coming back out on circuit now. Off goes the pit lane speed limiter, and he's on his way. Oh, and Fletch's gone for a spin. Fletcher's gone for a spin in the Red Bull. So from 3rd place, Fletch continues to lose ground, and is going to fall out of the points with where he is at the moment. I think Cromad has gone for a spin as well. Someone else has gone off onto the run-off area. Couldn't quite rest. Well, Cromad's gone for a spin. I think it may have been Anthro who went off onto the run-off area. But both have lost time in places. So that promotes Adam up to third place because he's also got in front of Rishi. So Adam also excelling in these conditions. You can see AA also making up good ground in the other Red Bull in 5th place. So Rishi trying to stay in touch. Vengeance with the new fastest up of the race. We are not expecting pit stops, although if the safety car does get deployed, it may prompt some drivers to take a gamble. I suppose if you're one of those at the back of the field, perhaps there'd be a gamble that's not. So Rishi in 4th place behind Adam as they go towards the hotel chicane. Someone's gone off in sector 3, that'll be suggested in the McLaren. Now, has he damaged the car? I think with him going off at that particular point there, I don't think he has done, so he's able to continue. So A8 in 3rd, or sorry, in 5th I should say. Someone's gone off in sector 2, it's John again in the Alfa Romeo. Goes around the polystyrene boards and comes back onto the circuit. And he joins in 9th position. Fletcher's got back into 12th place now. He's right on the tail of the Mercedes of Smith. And it's ooh, nearly ran into the back of the Mercedes there. And the Red Bull goes through rather easily. King's next up for Fletch. And Swift getting in front of Anthro for 14th position. So on lap 3 of the race, Vengeance nearly 5 seconds in front now. And getting the power down coming out of turn 12 through the right-hander of Garlaban before Tor and the sharper left-hander of Pont to close the lap. And someone's gone off in sector 3. It's Smith. He's just been overtaken by Fletch a moment ago. He's fallen down the order to 16th place. So on lap 4 of this Grand Prix, Vengeance absolutely dominant. I suppose with Miller in 6th place, this is going to see him extend his lead in the championship handsomely. The gap was 20 points before the round started, with Vengeance getting pole position. That adds another point onto it. If he was to win and get the fastest lap, he would go on to 87 points. And Miller, who's currently in 6th, would only get 8, which would put him on 48 points himself. So the gap at the top, as it stands, would be 39 points. Fletch gets back into the points as well as King crashes out somewhere. Not sure what's happened. He must have caught a damp patch somewhere. Will that bring out the safety car, I wonder? Yeah, he's crashed out just as he entered the Mistral Straight. So his race is over and he goes no further in this. Now, Li Wei King, who's only picked up 2 points so far this season, picked up those 2 points in Canada last week. He's not going to be scoring points today. So Vengeance leads. No safety car or VSC had been deployed, so we carry on as we are, which is great to see. So Fletch is back into the points now in 10th. Next man ahead of him is John, who's over 5 seconds up the road. And Sweaty Saga in 12th. So Vengeance out there on his own, continuing a dominant display. He's loving these conditions, isn't he? Sweaty Sucker gets in front of ZHR to go up to 11th, did so at turn 6, and now he's through. As those two go past where Leeway King lost it, and saw him retire. So ZHR behind the Ferrari as they go into the Mistral chicane. John is behind Vintage in the battle. Oh, and Sweaty Sucker's gone for a spin. Oh, that's a shame. He's broken his front wing as well. So he drops down the order. I hope that doesn't bring out a safety car, to be honest with you. And suggested also in the barrier. And now we have a virtual safety car. So the debris left over from a couple of cars spinning off the track as cause a virtual safety car to be deployed. John is coming into the pits, so it's down to a 60km pit lane speed limit that it is here at Paul Ricard. Not sure how long the virtual safety car is going to be out there for. Suggested gets a time penalty for corner cutting. New intermediate to go on the Alfa Romeo. ZHR also in, as is Sweaty Sucker. Those drivers have got nothing to lose now. So John rejoins in 11th place behind Anthro. So let's see what ground he can make up on his new set of intermediates. So he's only lost 2 positions by pitting. That's John. Now he's got to try and make them back up again. ZHR rejoins in 14th. Sweaty Sucker rejoins in 15th place. And Chromide gets a penalty as well for speeding under the VSC, so he'll have to take his drive-through penalty within the next 3 laps. And someone's gone off in sector 2. It's one of the Mercedes who's gone off. It's Smith at turn 6. Allows his teammate to go past. Now Suggested is also in the pits for McLaren, as Vengeance puts a lap on him. So Adam looking to get past the McLaren. There's John in 11th place. He may try and go for the fastest lap, but if he was to get that point, he would need to finish inside the top 10. We're on lap 7 of this race now. Vengeance's lead is 6.4 seconds over Charlie, with Adam nearly a further 4 seconds adrift. So Chromide comes in to serve his drive-through penalty. He'll rejoin behind both Mercedes cars, and probably Sweaty Sucker as well. There's Charlie in second. He's the only reserve being called in for today. Adam's third ahead of Rishi and AA and Mellor. And Fletcher's in 9th place now. That will be 2 championship points going his way. He would lose crucial ground to Vengeance in the title battle. John moves in front of Anthro, goes for a spin. And the exit turn 12 was continued. So John is now back into the points. I'm not sure if this is going to be a new fastest lap. We'll see his times as he crosses over the line. It's his best lap by far, the fastest lap of the race. Just looking to see what that fastest lap is. It's a 1:41.4 that Vengeance set before the VSC. So John's lap time is nowhere near the fastest of the race. Now this is the closest back on the circuit as Saga goes past the Mercedes of Smith. He puts his Ferrari up to 13th. The field is pretty much spread out now as the laps continue to tick down. So Vengeance extending his up, it's now 9 seconds. And posting a new fastest lap, he breaks into the 1 minute 40s. Someone's gone off in sector. Is that looks like the Ferrari and the Mercedes there of Saga and Smith. So they've clearly had this coming together. Chromad says, thank you very much, I'll take 2 positions. So Saga and Smith rejoining 14th and 15th. It's been a great performance from Vengeance in this one, no problem whatsoever. And of course to take his 3rd win in 4. Charlie will be very happy with his 2nd place. In terms of who's gained what from their starting position, well, Gowan started 16th on the grid. He's up to 7th in this. Vintage up from 15th to 8th. And then we've got those who made up 3 positions. Adam up from 6th to 3rd. AA up from 8th to 5th. Saga from 17th to 14th. So AA in the Red Bull, approaching Debose. He exits Debose. Gap between him and Rishi ahead is 2.5 seconds. Four laps remaining. Vengeance in the lead still. 10 seconds ahead of Charlie and nearly 16 ahead of Adam. And John, who's in 10th place at the moment on pressure intermediates. Not quite setting a new fastest lap at the moment, nowhere near it. His lap time is nearly 7 tenths faster than what he set beforehand. He's still far away from being in realms of setting a fastest lap. It's a high 1 minute 40 that Vengeance had set a lap or so ago. And Vengeance now gets a time penalty for exceeding track limits. Now with a lead of 11.5 seconds, that won't affect his race finishing position. He'd still be 8 seconds ahead of Charlie by the end of the race. So there's nothing to worry about. The only thing that could affect it is if we have a safety car, but it's too late in the race now for a safety car to be deployed in this game. So Vengeance, of course, to extend his championship lead. And Som's gone off in sector 2. It's Saga again in the Ferrari. It's the 2nd time he has spun off there on the Mistral straight. And he's about to go a lap down by the race leader. And someone's off in sector 3. That'll be Anthro. That's not his first spin of the day. He gets a penalty for corner cutting. 10 seconds it is, so he'll drop behind ZHR as it stands. And now Suggested gone off at turn 6 by the looks of things. He's broken his front wing as well. He continues on his way. Rishi now gets a time penalty for track limits, so that's 3 seconds. AA is close to within 3 seconds of him as well, so Rishi would lose that 4th place. And someone else has gone for a spin. It's Fletch. So Fletch has gone for a spin for the 2nd time in this race. And that's going to allow John to close right in on him now. There's Vintage, who we've not seen too much of in this race. On course for a good points finish. Now Vintage has picked up 10 points so far, which included a 5th place finish. In fact, that's his only points finish this season, so he's on course to add that tally, or add to that tally today. We are on the penultimate lap of this one as Vengeance continues to make his way through back markers. You can see ZHR and Amthro going toe to toe. Someone's gone off at the last corner. Where it'll be Suggested he's just come into the pits for a change of nose cone. He's had another race to forget, to be honest with you. So Vengeance coming up to lap the Aston Martin of Cromad, who's in 13th place. And now Vengeance starts the last lap of the race now. Cromad wisely gets out of the way. Doesn't put Vengeance off. Someone's gone off in sector 1. It's Saga in the Ferrari. He's reset the car back onto the track as well, which is against the rules, so I'm sure the stewards will be having words with him after the race for that infringement. So Vengeance's lead is 13 seconds. He's got a penalty of 3 seconds, so it'll still be a 10-second margin by the time this race is done. It's been an utterly dominant performance, which justifies why he warrants the right to be the championship leader in the PAFR Division Sprint Championship. And he's coming up to lap the McLaren have Suggested for the 2nd time. And then he will be taking victory without any issue. So Vengeance took pole position, and he's about to complete a clean sweep here, taking, well, it's going to be a grand slam. Pole position, fastest lap, race win, and leading every single lap of the race. Vengeance coming through Tor and then Pont, entering the pit straight for the last time. And Vengeance is going to take his 3rd victory in 4. Vengeance crosses the line to win the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard. He extends his lead at the top of the championship. An excellent job from him today. Charlie, called in as one of the reserves, is going to come home in 2nd place, with Adam not too far behind him. So Adam will be happy with his podium. Now Rishi has opened up that 3-second margin. Can he keep 4th place though from AA? The answer to that question is yes, he can. So Rishi 4th, AA 5th, Miller 6th. He'll be disappointed with that, to be honest with you, considering where Vengeance has ended up by the end of this. Goen will be 7th for McLaren. With Vintage over the line in 8th. Fletch and John round up the point scorers with ZHR and Anthro, the last cars on the lead lap. Chromad will be 13th ahead of Smith. Saga is 15th and the lap down, and suggested 2 laps down in 16th place. King was the only driver that did not finish the race. But it's victory for Vengeance here in France. He extends his lead at the top of the championship, which is now 39 points, as the PAFR takes a week off next week. And to be honest, I think Vengeance very much earns it. So here's your final race results then here at France. Vengeance wins with Charlie in 2nd place, Adam 3rd, Rishi 4th, then it's AA in 5th, Mella 6th, Go in 7th, Vintage 8th, Fletch 9th, and John picking up his first point of the season in 10th place. Vengeance also got the point for the fastest lap. ZHR is 11th, followed by Anthro, Chromad 13th, Smith 14th, had a Saga, and suggested who rounded off the finishes. King was the only driver not classified. So at the top of the championship, Vengeance increases his lead to 39 points over Mella, who keeps on 2nd place, is on 48 points, and Fletch only picking up 2 points there. He goes on to 40. So those are going to be the nearest challenges, I think, to Vengeance in the Drivers' Championship. We're going to go for some interviews, so we'll just bear with us one moment and we'll speak to a few drivers.
I've got him on mute. On it. Yeah, easier.
So after another brilliant race here today in the PAFR Division Sprints, let's speak to a few race drivers after that brilliant race. We'll start off with the race winner, Vengeance. All I can say is a dominant drive and in wet conditions as well, and this very much shows why you are the championship leader.
Oh, the car was on rails, eh? Car felt awesome.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, you know, pole position, fast as that, race victory, and leading every single lap of the race. Can't it get any better than that, can it?
No. Grand Slam. But the car felt really good. Apart from the first 2 laps, cars on rails.
Yeah, I can imagine so. And, you know, you've got a championship lead of 39 points now, going into the week's break. You've got a week off next week before the circus resumes. I'm just looking to see the calendar at the moment, because I know there's another round in 2 weeks' time. I think it's a European race. Austria, yeah, the Red Bull Ring in Austria. So you've got some time to think about, you know, before you plan ahead to the Austrian round to go for another victory. And over the course of the season so far, how are you finding it in the division sprint?
I'm finding it really good. Yeah,
He's winning.
Really...
It can't get any better.
I find it really good. I'm really enjoying it.
No problem. Well, very well done today, Vengeance, and best of luck between now and Austria coming up, and hopefully we'll see another victory from you over there. We'll speak to Adam next, who finished on the podium, and it was a very good drive from you, Adam, today. It was a lot better than last week's performance. Didn't score points last week in Canada, but today, in tricky conditions, you got it right. Yeah, and that podium, just looking at the points tally that you've got now, post that race, you went into the round with 18 points, you're now on 33, so that puts you ahead of Happy Kilmore and Smith into 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. So that's a very good result today, Adam, from what we're seeing from you. Austria next up, a fan's favourite. How are you thinking ahead to it? Thank you for speaking to us, Adam. Very well done today on your podium finish, and hope to see more of that next time out in a couple of weeks. We'll go to AA next. It's a 5th place finish. Excellent performance again, 10 championship points to add to your total. That puts your total up to 24. You're still in 7th place in the Drivers' Championship, but it's a good haul of points for you today.
Yeah, I'm just really happy with the whole performance of the grid today. Obviously wasn't expecting a lot of safety cars because of how open the track is, but I think it was still a good effort for everyone, so I just wanted to get that out there first. But I'm not as confident as last year, but I'm still quietly confident in the wet. It's probably more of my strength than just dry weather. Had a good battle with Adam and Rishi. Just trying to keep pace with them. Unfortunately, I think I just missed out by 0.082. But all in all, yeah, I'm really happy with the grid and the race.
Yeah, it was a very clean start as well from all the drivers. You know, to be honest with you, I feared of how the race was going to end up with, you know, drivers not being able to cope in the conditions. But I think the saving grace was that it was in Paul Ricard and there's loads of runoff area for them to use if necessary. And they just seemed to behave out there very well today in comparison to last week in Canada.
Yeah, early days of the games, everyone's still learning, obviously setups and curbs and whatnot. But like you said, open track shouldn't have had any safety cars. But I think because it's more of a relaxed environment, this division, it's more of a practice for Sundays. I think everyone's sort of just a bit more cautious and easygoing and not sweating it to get that P1.
Mm-hmm. Well, very well done, AA, on that performance in France. We'll go to your Red Bull teammate, Fletch, who came home with a couple of points in the end. Not perhaps what he would have wanted, but at least got to the end of the race anyhow. Fletch, it was a rather difficult race for you. You had a couple of spins. I think you had one particularly at the start, which dropped you well back down the order. Then you made up a few positions and then had another spin, and then you had, obviously, John right behind you towards the end of the race. Sum it up for me. Yeah. You are 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, and which circuits would you say you're most looking forward to? Because we've got obviously the week off, and they've got Red Bull Ring, Silverstone, and Baku. Anything can happen really on those circuits. So, what are you putting sort of more eggs in the basket? Sorry, more eggs in the basket over some venues over others, depending on your strengths. How do you see yourself going forward? Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Fletch, for speaking to us, and we hope for better luck next time. Let's go to John, who managed to bag his first point of the season in 10th place in the Alfa Romeo. A decent drive in the end for you, John. Looking at where you started, well, you started 4th on the grid, so you may feel that, a bigger haul of points had gone away from you, but you've got a point on the board. Yeah, I mean, the Red Bull Ring is a wonderful track, which is where we go to next in a couple of weeks. You have to think you've got a good chance of getting the result, but I just think getting that one-shot qualifying is right, which you did so here in Paul Ricard. So if you can do it at Paul Ricard, you can most certainly do it at the Red Bull Ring. Excellent. Well, thank you for speaking to us, John, and best of luck for next time out in Austria. We've got time for one more interview. Let's speak to our second place man, Charlie. How are you? And it's been an excellent performance from you today. Second place, did you expect that at the beginning of today?
I was not expecting even a podium, to be honest, because I thought I was going to get sent going turn 1, to be honest, because I don't like being at the front really a lot, because I could get a hit in the back. But yeah, P2 I'll definitely take, because that's my best finish in PAFR now. Hopefully this podium doesn't get taken away this time, unlike in Spain where I got 3rd but then dropped to 5th. But yeah, definitely a good race. But Vengeance, he was just absolutely flying, because he was going about 2 seconds quicker, and he's just absolute flyer in France.
Yeah, and of course you qualified 3rd and converted that into a 2nd place finish, so it was definitely a good performance from you there. And obviously you've been called in as a reserve for today, and are we expecting more from you in the Division Sprint Championship this season?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, maybe get moved to a full-time. That would be great, but gotta show more to do that, of course, and gotta be a bit patient. So yeah, I can definitely do more.
Yeah, and if today's performance didn't prove it, I don't know what will, but we hope to see you more. Maybe next time out in Austria, or at Silverstone, or in Baku, or whenever as the season unfolds. Thank you for speaking to us, Charlie. It's great talking to you and all the other drivers we've spoken to post-race. Well, that is all for today, folks. Thank you for joining us on the stream, and we hope you enjoyed today's racing. The next round of the championship is not next week. It'll be the week after at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Now, the date for it will be on the 2nd of September. 11:30 p.m. British Summer Time. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the PAFR returns.